present that application to the commissioners, then the commissioners approve it or deny it. And then with that approval would be a 10-year exemption or reduction, however you want to word it.
Well, after 10 years, they go ahead, they need to.
But it expires after 10 years.
Yeah.
It would, after 10 years it expires. And then they can reapply after that, but it would expire after 10 years.
Okay. Is there a second to what Mr. Mager just stated?
I'll second it.
Mr. Gardner seconded. All in favor?
Well, hang on, so do you feel like that's a
Is that far?
policy
Is that
at
far?
least?
And we also have to have the landowner bring in FSA maps.
FSA,
Bring it FSA match.
Well, I would say that when I mentioned criteria, I would say you guys would just develop a criteria, like, I mean, I'm kinda looking at you
Yeah,
guys to
however
come
you
up
wanna
with the,
run the program.
compare with the state and other counties as to what they're developing for criteria and use that. If it becomes a problem, the board can assess it later, but.
also, I think we should determine 70% or just completely
Exempt, yeah.
exempt.
70% reduction in taxation, or
For the
30% or what?
Yeah, Ray, I guess we never did nail that down, then you were suggesting 70%?
I suggest 70, you could do 50, you could do 100%, wherever you.
I don't think,
Is there
probably,
a lot of acres in the county that would qualify?
I don't know.
We'll find out, right?
Yeah,
cause even, I mean, even on your, like, for example, like at my place, I own up to the section line. Part of that right of way is a reduced value, right, Josh? 'Cause you
That's
can't-
correct.
But it's still like evaluation of like,
It's still like $17 or $18 an acre.
right, so it's not 100% reduction, just because even though you really can't use it, you still own it.
Actually, it's 25 for roads and water. It's like Bryce Lake, that's permanently water,
Right.
that's mapped as the soil has water, and that's, I think it's $17 value. So like if you own a quarter that's completely flooded by Bryce Lake, the value is $17 or $18 per acre.
Per acre.
Yep.
So it's still not
So-
zero, even in that
And,
scenario.
yeah, in our tax program, I don't know if I could put 0 value per acre, cause then when I pull our total acres, it's not gonna pull that acre.
work.
Yeah, it's gonna basically delete it, I think, so I think there has to be value.
So should we just put a value rather than a reduction of?
Yeah, can we do a set
70?
value, like the same
Yeah,
as
why don't we
water,
do a
that's
set?
20
Yeah.
or 17,
That's a good
$18,
idea.
yeah.
I mean, that makes
To be
sense to try and stay consistent, just if you
Yeah.
already have it.
absolutely.
I mean,
There you go.
cause it's obviously not worthless, it's just next to worthless. Well, I mean, it's not worthless land, but it's, you know, it's,
When you sell it, they'll still pay for it.
well, I mean, I'm just saying. I got cattail and water land on my ground, I ain't giving it away, so I'm telling you that right now, so.
They're paying 8 for the cropland, they'll pay 8 for
Sure.
that parcel land, 'cause it's part of the quarter. And they'll get the exemption then on that water deal when it comes to taxes.
Right.
It's kinda like right away on a
Well,
road.
my opinion would be if we're okay with the motion in the second, let's go through that, and then we'd make another motion to set the value, rather than trying to amend the motion.
Right, to amend it. Okay.
I think we're pretty well clear on that policy, everybody was fine?
Yep.
Okay.
And then you made a motion, who seconded?
I
You did, right? So all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
I
So
would,
now let's do a motion on the value, so to say.
I would make another motion, and that would be to value the land for the old water is the same as the permanent water valuation, whichever that is, you know, I don't wanna quote Josh in the meeting, but it's obviously a very reduced rate.
Yep.
And I will second that one as well.
Mr. Gardner seconds that. All in favor of the motions that were brought forth?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
That's all.
Okay, thanks, Christine.
Thanks.
We appreciate it.
Yep.
Oh, let's see here. There's a letter here on item K, zoning ordinance update resolution, and letter for Joe Vetter, from Joe Vetter. I had a phone call from him this morning, and a text message also, and there's a letter that you probably all received in the mail, did you not?
Yeah.
And it's in regards to the cottage boxes.
Yeah.
Um,
Seems to be a lot of opposition
There
there.
is, yeah.
And they don't really, if I read it and read there and Kent right, they don't want another hearing either. They don't think we'll hear it again.
That's what taken care of.
Well, if you think about it, the price of a Conex container, now 2 of them, probably is not a ton more than just building the
No.
sidewalls out of sidewalls with tin and, I mean, honestly,
I'd
there's
say
a
it's
little bit of a
less.
difference, huh?
I'd say it's less.
Yeah,
Putting a
it
regular
could very
stick
well be.
building up.
I mean, I know it's not sealed up storage like the Connexes, but you know, like I told you guys, the same with the city, we banned them, I mean, the minute they started showing up in residential areas, just because of the fact that who wants one of these beside their house? You know, they're substantially nicer than they were when they first started showing up, but you know, if I had a lake lot, that'd be the last place I'd wanna see one as a building, I mean, and they can have one, that's how.
Yeah,
They can have one common
Yeah.
box, right?
You
So-
can do one on one side.
and I think the letter
one
that-
on the other side.
I think the letter we received talked about how, many of them had already been, a lot of them had been moved out that were there prior to. So, I mean, I don't disagree with when you're building $4, $5, $6, $7 million homes instead of just, you know,
Cabins.
just cabins out there. I don't think I'd want one by me either. Cause I don't want one by my house, let alone my place where I'm going to relax and I want some value to it when somebody takes it over.
It's a different deal on a farm setting.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
totally different.
And that's what we do with the city of Linton. If you're commercial or industrial, you can have them, but residential not.
So Joe, you can have a 20 by 40 or you can, or a 20 by 20, no problem. They're ideal, I want a 40 footer. They're ideal for storage, to a point, but you will get condensation and mold,
Yeah, I hear that.
because there's not enough air movement.
I
So
don't
what do we
remember
have?
exactly, did that resolution isolated to just recreational?
Yeah,
It did.
yep, I actually got a couple calls this week, people are confused about it.
Well, I mean, and that's just,
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good part of, you know,
Yeah.
the conversation is to make sure that we're narrowing it down though, because I don't think limiting Connex boxes in the county's very good, but yeah, the recreational district is probably.
Yeah.
Just a different, cause let's face it, the recreational district in Emmons County is a residential district.
It's pretty.
Like, that's what everybody's building on the recreational district
Right.
areas out there, so.
I just think what I gather in this is that we don't probably need to have another public hearing. We just need to confront the landowner, when he brings that back in.
Not
and-
giving it, just deny it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, you guys had a public hearing apparently in July of 2022 and
a
it
lot
sounds
of,
like a fair amount of people showed up. I guess I wasn't here for it.
I mean,
With a lot of people.
my memory serves me right, there was probably 20, 25,
oh,
you know, I
That's
mean, there
enough
was,
for
there was
considering-
people, right?
Beaver Bay.
I don't
area
remember
was-
if that was attendance for the entire meeting or just for that public hearing though, cause I remember it was kind of on the edge of COVID, and we were still having meetings at the auditorium, I think. So it was downstairs, I do remember that. And, I mean, my only concern with wanting to address it again is just, I don't think it was ever brought in the context of using it as a building material.
Right.
You know what I
Right,
mean?
yeah, right.
I think that was the part that was worthy for discussion, was, well, I never thought of it like that.
mhm.
Cause if you're gonna go and use it just to save yourself some material and then match metal around it so it really blends in, is it that big of a concern versus littering a lot with them?
Yeah,
That-
yeah.
Cause obviously, as you put them on a lot, now you have maybe some weed control, dust control, where if you're literally using it as a building material.
Does it even fall into that specific?
Right, that was my reasoning, I don't advocate for letting more than one Connex box on these lots, I think it is
Yeah.
reckless, but
And it
I
may
just
not-
never thought of it in that context, and that was my reasoning for bringing, I'm struggling to see where it saves a lot of time and labor, I'm sure it does to a point, but
Yeah,
I just don't know if it's like, oh man, this is a really big opportunity we're missing out on, I don't know if that's the case,
And I
was
think-
curious what people thought.
Taking the eaves out to the outer edge would make it look a lot better than just the inner edge.
yeah. well,
Oh, and I think part of that is they have a floor, so they don't have to put concrete, they
Right.
have ceiling doors on the front,
Yes.
so they don't have to come up with a door. I do understand the concept of using it as a building material,
They're airtight.
right, and that's where, does it even fall into this same ordinance? Using it as a building material if everything is matched to the siding and it's,
Well,
you know what I
that-
mean, if they tin the sides the same way as they tin the back and the front and have a garage door and just basically have two Connex
Two
doors,
linters,
is it really that big of a deal if they run the eaves all the way to the outside?
Right, but the issue then is if you have them run the eaves to the edge, and then you metal the outside to match the rest of the building. The labor it takes to fur it out and to make the eaves, you're not
Why
saving any
is it
labor,
so?
because that's the argument they're making, it's like
Yeah.
as soon as you're like, why don't you do that, well, that would add a lot of
I
extra, well,
think
that's
they were
where
gonna
you're.
paint them to match the
Right,
siding, so that
Right,
would be
and
a
I
little-
get that too, but I just, my thought process after the meeting and everything was like, well, the only way to make it more efficient, more time saving, any of that, is to basically cut a corner.
Yeah,
You're basically, like, if you're gonna go and be like, oh, if you did it this and did it like that, well, nobody's gonna do that, because it doesn't make any sense, it doesn't save any time or any money.
right,
And even like without the floors, so you're gonna have partial concrete or no concrete, or, and it's like, and then the other thing, and it's not the government's concern essentially with resale,
Right.
but do you wanna allow some of this building to happen in these recreational areas that do inhibit valuations or the ability to sell it,
yeah.
or, you know, like, if somebody out on their farm out 8 miles out of town behind some tree rows wants to build one like that, it's probably not a big deal.
But not.
It's not gonna affect the sale of the neighbor's home and the other stuff,
Right.
but when you do allow this stuff, you do have to consider the other neighbors, that's the reason why we have these setbacks and ordinances the way it is, and I feel like my inner rural homeowner type is just like, yeah, I don't care. But theoretically, I don't think I would want one built next to me either, so
Yeah.
I guess thinking about it that way in the recreational area, which is basically residential, I think it just doesn't really create the environment you're trying to create when you have zoning.
And we
Otherwise, if you're
still-
gonna let some of that stuff, might as well just let. the
And we'd
zoning
still have
go.
to do a variance because it's still two Conex containers regardless of how you
Right.
use
Oh, you
them.
made
Exactly.
it, it
And
is.
that's another can of worms we've been very hard to try to avoid.
Well, that was my sticking point with the meeting, was like, you can't really issue a variance when you just have this resolution, you need to kinda change the resolution. Are we willing to do that? Well, in this context, it was not the same conversation, but I don't know if anybody would be like, oh, well, since they're doing it that way, stack them to the ceiling, like, I don't think anybody,
Yeah,
I don't think anybody really wants it.
Right.
I would agree with that, so.
I don't think we need a public hearing, number
No.
one.
No.
I mean, I don't think we really do, I think we've come to a pretty good consensus.
Well, I would say the proper thing to say is that we're not in favor of changing the resolution.
Right,
Yeah.
Because I mean, as far as having public hearings, I think they're nothing but good usually.
right, no, you're right.
But yeah, I don't see any value in changing this now, just cause like you said, even the input we've gotten from other folks, it's like, well, there's basically one guy out there that wants to
That's
do this,
one
maybe
system.
another guy, and the rest of them are kinda like, you're really gonna allow that?
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like,
Item B says it clears a bill. There shall be a limit of one Conex box per lot.
right, but again, I would just argue that that was in the context of not having more than one scattered around the lot, where if you're blending it into a building, I just don't think anybody anticipated that was even gonna be a part of the
No.
conversation, so.
And I'm not gonna lie, it's not a bad idea,
No.
they're not a horrible looking thing.
No,
I
they're
just
not.
would, like I said, I would not want them by my vacation home, or even my residential home.
Yeah.
If I had an empty property that I didn't plan on building on, that I had a Connex on, or I parked vehicles on, or trailers on, or a work lot, I could care less.
Ideal to set them already when you're on the lock, it's gonna be locked.
Yeah,
It's locked,
Yeah.
it's clean. You
Oh,
can't beat
you
it.
can, I'm probably gonna end up with one on my farm one of these
You
days.
will on your
They're
farm.
great, but I'm gonna put it towards the back, away from the road, and it's gonna be
Yeah.
towards you, but. I guess if I was gonna say anything, if I was gonna have 25 people fill this room, I'd rather have 25 people come in here wanting us to change this, than having 25 people mad that we did change it for
I know, I agree.
one parcel owner. I guess if you're gonna go that route,
No.
that's the way I feel about it, but that is only my opinion.
So what do we have to do? We don't have to make any.
No, I
no,
don't,
no.
unless somebody's in favor of making a motion to change it or something and restarting the process, I don't think there's any.
I'm gonna stick tight with the way it is, done deal.
Yeah.
Okay, other than that, we'll move on to item L.
no, we're still okay, don't we have some paperwork that goes with
I was
the
gonna say,
zoning?
I don't think we're done with K here.
We got creating a zoning board for Emmons County.
Oh, yeah,
resolution established.
I got that from Joe,
Yeah, we got,
yeah.
You
Here.
got
Sorry, Mr. Brents.
Oh, we could do that.
Gotta do that. What time is he supposed to start?
Donovan's waiting there, well, what's?
He's early.
You wanna step up,
Well,
Don?
he was on the agenda at 1:30, so yeah, so,
Huh?
I'm just saying he was on the agenda at 1:30, so.
Oh,
It's up to you, you're chair.
we're way ahead of schedule.
Yeah.
Well, we had a lunch break in there, there's a lunch break figured in. Well, I mean, you don't have anything from 12:15 to 1:30, so that would be a lunch break.
Yeah, he didn't, you told me yesterday you couldn't make it to 1:30, so.
Well, I changed my appointment in Mandan, and I'd have been here roughly an hour earlier, but I here assaulted my pickup right at the mouth I turned off.
Oh,
She bent the bumper back against the tire, so I couldn't drive it. Finally, a good Samaritan stopped, and I got out a chain and tow rope, and we jerked it out so I could make it down here.
You should probably let him go.
I think out of that good story.
Sounds like he's had a tough day, let the man speak.
What the world, yeah?
Scott, could you bring up that parcel, my parcel on the screen?
Josh.
Oh, Josh.
Yeah, Scott, get on that. It's
I gotta
okay,
do
Don's
anything
at
for
that
Josh.
point, so.
It's been a bad
You're forgiven.
couple days. Well, you probably already heard that the city denied my building permit application.
They did deny it.
Yes, they want me to spend additional monies to hire an engineer to do a certificate of, I guess, non-interference with water or whatever, water flow. And I've been quoted prices of between $5,000 and $15,000 to do that. Back in 2014, when I applied for a permit, the city requested that I hire an engineer to do an elevation survey. And that was done, and what it indicated was, or what it showed was that where the Hireman house and attached garage were, was the highest point of ground in that area. There's an existing driveway down there, and the elevation of that is above the flood, what they call the flood base. But the city informed me, or Sharon from the city informed me that if I would move my location south, away from where this cement driveway is, to an elevation that's roughly 3 feet lower than where the house site was, then I don't need to hire an engineer to do that certificate. And, you know, I think the big problem is the city's fear of FEMA.
Let me touch on that for a minute, Donovan. The fear of FEMA is if we allow him to build this and he doesn't get the no rise certification, FEMA can take federal flood insurance away from everybody that has flood insurance down in that area. That's the fear. It's not that we're scared of FEMA. But we are city, they are federal, and they can take everybody's flood insurance away. And Joe made it very clear at the city council meeting last night that they know everybody, and they provided us a list of everybody that could lose their flood insurance if that happens. So I just wanna make that clear. Go ahead, sorry Donovan, go ahead.
I acknowledge that threat by FEMA is there, but I believe that it would be political suicide for FEMA to do something like that, because they'd be laying themselves open for a class action lawsuit by the people that would be detrimentally offended. The thing is, I'm trying to work with the city, and hopefully we'll have a meeting with I call him the FEMA director or representative, and maybe get that resolved. But the one thing, when I went into and saw Christina and I talked with Scott, is that the city claims that all of the property within the area that I own is in the city, is in the city limits. There's block 5, and then there's lot 4, and just highlight, show them what I own, but anyway.
Yeah, it's kind of highlighted.
You'll see up there about the center, where there's a couple of trailers and stuff parked, and then that cement driveway is up further to the north. Well, that, you know.
Is that north of Ray Wade?
Pardon?
Is that north of Ray Wade's old house?
Yes,
Okay,
It's north of Jerry Heisinger's house.
yep, okay,
You know,
yep,
and,
the old Sid Lawler house.
you know, when I applied for the permit in 2014, you know, like I said, I had to do an elevation survey. And, that survey showed that, in my opinion, that, you know, this property is not in the floodway, it's above the floodway. The creek itself is the floodway, and when water flows over the banks of the creek, then it goes out into, you know, areas to the north and south, and that's called the floodway. But the one thing that concerned me is when I went in to see Christina to establish a taxable value for my properties, apparently the comparable sales or transactions that she used involved property within the city of Linton. And originally, I was deeded 3.84 acres. However, there's the extension of a Schley Avenue roadway, it's a graveled roadway. That Scott calculated out at 0.53 acres, so they reduced that and removed that from the taxes. But there's 2.69 acres that are outside of block 5. And basically, that would be county property, and the county should be taxing it, in my opinion, and not the city. But the other reason I came is you were gracious enough to tell me that you had a storage unit.
I did, yeah.
You have room for my pontoon since I
Depends on
happen
the
to be
price that we
able
can
to.
negotiate, I don't know how you and I are gonna negotiate this deal, I don't know.
Well-
I don't wanna do it over the,
Well, you set up the plan and I'll meet you there, because I'm in dire need of having some.
what do you have, Mr. Pontoon?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
and with the tongue and the motor hanging out the back, it's a 25-foot tripoon. I'm guessing we'll probably need about 35 feet deep to store it.
Okay, probably could work.
But,
There's no liability gonna be if there's mice that end up on it.
no, I'll put in the
In the clause?
repellent
Okay,
that's
all right.
necessary.
Okay.
But, you know, it might put Joe in a conflict of interest position, but you may want to ask Joe to take a look at the claim that this property outside of lot 4, block 5 is in the city boundaries. It's not. Because if you go up to Eric Paul's house, the north part of it, no, right down there, a little bit down. I'll go up to the left. The end of 7th Street, basically, that is the southeast quarter of section 7. And everything above that is outside of the city limits. And everything west of block 5 is out of the city limits. So the majority of the property down there is outside of the city limits. It's not in the city limits, although the city is collecting tax on it. So, just
What is the boundary for the city limits? The white line, right?
Okay, so that white line,
The white line.
Scott looked it up. So,
Good job for Scott.
this is what the city had surveyed. This is the original one. I couldn't make a good copy of that. So that white line matches exactly that. So I haven't touched this at all. I think whoever drew that, it's drawn exactly as that survey was done for the corporate city limits.
Basically, city limits follows Beaver Creek, or Spring Creek.
Essentially, yeah, it's not, you can tell it's right, not exactly, but yes.
Meets and bounds and meets and bounds.
It's pretty close.
But yeah, what he's talking about is Patterson Edition.
But that property, to my understanding, was never annexed into the city property.
So north of there, this is in city limits. In city limits.
According to that white line,
Yeah.
yes.
Well, that's
But
that's
according-
the limit. I mean, that's what's on.
But that's not what the recorded record shows.
So he's talking about Patterson Addition, which was platted, ended here, block 5. Even
And
though
it's
it
my
wasn't
understanding,
platted,
the
it's
only way you
addition.
can bring property into the city limits is to have it annexed in.
Well, I'll guarantee you, I think the city would be more than happy to let you take your property out to the county, cause
So so the question is that you're improperly taxed on that then? Is that what you're
Well,
saying?
yeah, cause she's using comparable sales, dealing with city properties
Tax.
and not with
I would say
rural county.
it probably has more to do with special assessments.
Well,
Let's just be
I mean,
honest
the
here.
question with the comparables
Yes.
is that I didn't know comparables mattered if they were in the city or outside when it came to like lots, like parcel size, structure size,
But
all
it
that,
affects
so.
the value.
Well, I know it, I mean, but you're talking about an appraisal versus like taxable value, and then you're also comparing like city versus
Well,
county, so.
the taxable, with all due respect, the taxable, to determine the taxable value, you do look at the market value. And then you back off from there.
Right, but your question is the market value of the actual property or the structures on the property, like what are you saying was
There's only,
comparable?
There is no
there's
structure.
only there's one little shed on there that Christina valued at, I think it was $3,000. And
Sure.
then there's a little tin shed, like, it'd be like in the cities where people store their lawnmower and stuff in. And that's old and dilapidated, but
But so then you're requesting that that gets compared to residential area out in the county?
what
Because it's not really
requesting
A's.
is to take a look at whether or not what the city claims is their city limits is legally proper. You don't annex property in by having your engineers survey out a line and a map and say, well, this is in the city limits. So,
So you're looking for the end result to be whether or not it's in city limits or out of it?
yes, and to be honest with you, I will be circulating a petition to have lot 4,
That's the one in the north, lot 4, annexed out of city limits.
No, this one right here.
That's
He's
5.
talking about.
And that has to do with special assessments. He's special assessed
Well, I
a
mean, and
100 by 140 foot lot, which does have frontage right here. It's got a street right here.
Yep.
And he wants that taken out so he doesn't have to pay special.
So where
He
that
was there
arrow
last
is right
night to
now-
Try to get it out already.
where that arrow is right now, there is no curb on that side
Doesn't
of the
need to be
street.
curb, there's a street there.
curb on the other side of the street,
But we're fixing the street, not the curb.
okay? That's fine. But there's no city water, there's no city sewer on any of this property, whether it's in the city limits or not. So,
Well, we can
Thank you,
circulate the
gentlemen.
petition and we'll see what happens.
give me a call so we can maybe I can get something to write to.
Well, the only, just for clarification
Go ahead.
of this conversation, that the breadcrumbs I was laying is whether or not that property is in the city or the county as far as the permitting for construction due to the floodway or flood zone, that would still be the responsibility of the city of Lyndon.
Yes, the city still has,
Okay, well,
they
just-
still have the zoning
Okay.
jurisdiction.
Well, that was what I was trying to clarify, that if that was the angle that was going as far as clarifying, if it's outside of the city, you wouldn't need the city to approve that permit, the answer is they would still have to approve it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because before, the last time in 14 when I applied, I was told that I had to get both the county okay and the city okay. So, but that's changed now.
Well, cause the county water board is the floodplain coordinator for the county, but I think there's very, very little or no floodland in the county. It's actually in the city of Lytton's territorial zone or the city limits, so that's why the city of Lytton is really the only floodplain coordinator in the county essentially, so.
Okay,
Okay.
well, thank you, gentlemen.
Yep.
Thank you, Tom.
Well, what?
Oh, what else you gonna do, Pat?
Well, I mean, this,
Excuse me, I gotta.
you know, Donovan's not really questioning the boundaries, questioning whether or not it got annexed essentially, so.
Right, maybe it wasn't done properly.
I mean, I don't know, I would have to, that's where you'd have to go back and look at
He's
minutes
just
or
trying
some
to get
kind of
on special
resolution to see if they
assessments.
annexed.
That's exactly what
Particular
it
pieces.
is. It's 100%.
Cities,
I would imagine that's
appealed
gotta
it
be the
last
city's
night,
records if
and that's
they
what he's
annexed
trying
that,
to do.
or if it was originally included in
What's
some
your
parcel.
That would take a little time to.
Well,
I don't.
It's, the burden of proof lies on him to prove it, so, like the city, all we have to do is let him prove it. He's just trying to get out of specials.
Well,
Like I said, he appealed them last night.
I mean, it really wouldn't be a conflict of interest for Joe as the state's attorney or the city lawyer to look into whether or not that property was properly annexed, right?
No, but he shouldn't he come to the city with that problem rather than the county? I mean, I'm not,
Oh, I
it
don't,
doesn't make a difference to me, but wouldn't that concern go to the city rather than the county? I mean, they paid for the surveys and they paid for the engineer and,
Right, yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Joe, you wanna look?
Well, I actually have looked at this a few times, but like Aaron said, I mean, he's not, I don't think there's necessarily a problem with the survey. It's whether or not the survey used the correct history of the land or did it go off something else, and we don't really know. I think this is 2006. Different engineering firm than we employed, or than the city employs.
You dealt with it last night.
You know, it would take a lot of
We will in 10 years.
digging and finding the answers that he's asking there. And, I think,
We
you
did
know,
10 years ago.
sounds like there might be some litigation with the city down the road that'll uncover a lot of this anyway.
Okay.
and to me, it doesn't seem like there's really an inclusion on the county's part of that.
No. No, I don't believe so either.
Cause even if there was a permit applied here, we wouldn't have the authority to issue it.
There was last month that we sent him to the city.
Right,
Yeah.
and the only other argument that I would make with any of that is FEMA probably would pull flood insurance, and most likely the issuing authority to that permit would probably get sued more than FEMA. You know?
Well, and we would, so we've gone through, the water, I mean, we've gone through all the processes, had all the paperwork last night, and it basically said we'd be breaking our own ordinance if we let him build. We have a floodway ordinance that says you cannot build in a floodway without a no-rise certification. I mean, he just keeps coming, and we keep telling him, and the mayor extended an olive branch last night to meet with a FEMA guy in Bismarck over the phone, and him and Sharon, to talk this out. He could do a no-rise, study, would cost him probably, I don't remember, 8 to 12 grand. If he passes it, he could build it. If he doesn't, he can't
We don't
build it.
build
You know,
So
so,
it's the gap
I mean,
of 5 to 15 grand.
we tabled it last night because he says he's gonna continue to try to work with FEMA and see if he can get it figured out. This whole deal about the annexation, like I said, is just, he is upset that he has a piece of property on a road. We're doing, special assessments for a road project, and he's pissed because he doesn't think he should have to pay because there's no curb and gutter, even though there's a road. He says there's no benefit to his land, even though from his house to that gravel road, he drives blacktop, and it's the city's blacktop. And I was on the city council 10 years ago, same guy, same crap. It's the same crap. I'm almost to the point where, last night I almost had to go to the bar for a couple, cause it's the same thing. He says that his land has lost value and the taxable value is lower, but when I offered him $1,000 more than what he paid for it to tear down the house and pay for it, he wouldn't take it. So that means that the land has gone up in value, right? It's got value to it. So, I mean, come on here, it's ridiculous.
It's tough with this floodway too, so FEMA did a new map just a couple, 2-3 years ago or whatever. So whatever the floodway was maybe 10 years ago, it's kinda changed a little bit, and during the new mapping process, we had the public hearings, and there was a process where you could come in and object to the change in circumstance of your own land. And you know, no one really ended up objecting to it, and I don't know how his property was affected, but I know there were some properties in Linton that were affected negatively with the new map. And the city spent quite a bit of money to try to have this independent study to help all those folks out. And the independent study said, well, might as well just leave what you have. So, you know, this has been looked at a lot. And I can't speak to whether the spot where FEMA would like him to build just a little bit east or south is 3 feet lower or not. I'm sure it is, but I don't know that you can change their map at this point, you know, the round of,
Why wouldn't he just build where they say he can build?
well,
And haul in some fill?
we had that discussion last night. Now, I guess I don't know if that was just the location he wanted, and I don't
I suppose it's
remember.
back in the, I mean, it is a nice spot, he's
Yeah,
got some
nice
trees.
spot.
And if you pull it out to build where FEMA says you're no longer at a floodway, you're just in a floodplain,
Right.
and you don't need a no-rise certificate to spend 8 or 12,000, it's out of the trees and it's a lot more visible and it kinda takes away from being down along Beaver Creek. I mean, I understand what he's trying to do. The fact of the matter is he keeps coming back to try to make it sound like the city, doesn't have a backbone and should stand up to FEMA, and I'm like,
Why stand?
Well,
What are you gonna generate?
why take the risk of everybody losing their flood insurance because you're being stubborn? If it's just a storage shed and you're just gonna put your pontoon in it, and they're asking you to move it 100 feet to the southeast, and this would all go away, other than you still have to bring in fill and you're not on the concrete, and it blows my mind, and it just keeps, month after month here now, and it's ridiculous.
And for him, I don't think it's really the 5 to 15,000, the real crux of the issue is that no rise certificate has to say that if he builds this building, there will not be a rise to the water, and
It's
it's
very
not
clear.
gonna say that.
Yeah. it
So
won't.
that money's just gonna be waste, so
Yeah.
that's why he's not gonna, that's why you really can't, afford to take that risk. Because the preliminary, the city's actually had the engineer give kind of a preliminary opinion on whether that no rise would be good or bad, and their opinion was build it somewhere else, so.
Yeah, and I mean, it
And
just
they aren't
keeps
gonna
coming
budge
up.
him then. They won't
It
budge.
just keeps coming up that there was never any water in that house when it stood, and in 2014, when I applied, before his wife got sick and untimely passed away, that they were gonna build and they didn't because of her passing, that everything was hunky-dory and it was approved at that time. But like Joe just said, about 3 years ago, those maps changed. And then we did everything we could to try to get businesses and residences out of that floodway, with worse results, so we just left it. I mean, I don't know what else a person can do to get it through to him, that it's just probably not gonna happen without. Yeah.
Okay,
Well, let's move on.
anything else, let's move on.
Well, the
Go
only
ahead.
thing left that we have is the zoning resolution, which I think is probably gonna take a little bit of time.
There's one other thing too, Aaron, I'd like to touch you on, it's this court facility improvement advisory committee.
Okay, well,
Did you get that letter?
Who's it from?
Here. Court, it's on
Oh,
a
okay,
grant.
yes.
Huh?
So.
What do we have to do, and who has to
You
pick
don't
up
have
and
to
move
do
forward?
anything with that, they always just send a letter to the chairman, they send it to me also. I already gave it to Robin, if she needs anything in her office, like, anything that she needs, she can apply for a court facility grant, which covers 75% of the cost.
Yeah.
So if she wants to apply for a grant, she can, it's up to her.
it's
But I
just a
can give her
grant
that letter.
program by the courts, right, because they
Yeah.
have, I think did we do a copier one year, or a printer or
You
something?
can do a copy, what she was telling me that she was kind of thinking of a desk or whatever, and I told her to contact
Right.
Rough Riders and apply.
So can you do a facelift in here also?
It's gotta be
In
used
the
for the
courtroom?
courtroom, the judge's chambers, and the recorder's office, yeah.
Okay, and I just said, might as well apply for these grants. if
And
they're
so
there.
she does wanna apply for some grants, I did give her that letter, and so she was gonna.
You guys wanna look at it, you're entitled to look at it, go ahead.
It comes through every year, and
Every year?
it's typically just been used for mostly like small furniture items, it's always been, like, I think one year was a printer copier. And then a lot, like you said, desk items, maybe a new computer for one of the offices,
Yep, and
that's
like-
kinda what it's set up for.
I think this desk here was used for it, and, yeah.
I wanna thank you, Joe, on this here, what you put together.
Yeah.
Thanks, I got that last night.
There you go.
I sent emails out, but I don't know if you got them.
Well, I guess my suggestion was that now that Donovan's done, we're technically done with agenda items till 1:45, so we'd still have at least an hour for a lunch break. I mean, if we're gonna discuss a lot of this stuff, maybe we should just take a lunch break and then come back
Boy,
and then discuss this out, 'cause,
I've got a combine set.
yeah, but you gotta be back at 6 o'clock anyway.
I know.
Is that what you're contemplating?
Yeah, what do you want,
Tell-
what's that,
well,
say?
a lot of us have work to do, we've been here, we're on at, 11:30. I saw it on the agenda
Is she
that
on the
we were gonna
agenda?
talk zoning today, And so that's what I came to get some information on, where we are with the zoning.
Zoning board.
But now you're saying you're gonna push it till after lunch? Is that?
Well, what we've got here, Steph, this has been that, but I've got a comprehensive copy here and an outline from Joe, which was submitted, emailed to me last night. I sent it out to the commissioners last night. I think probably got it at what, 4:15, Joe, roughly?
Yeah, exactly.
Roughly, give or take.
Yeah.
And we haven't had no chance to go over any of this. We got an outline here, what we have to do step by step in order to bring this zoning board committee up and follow what we got a guideline on. Because none of us really knew what to go by. And I asked Joe to give us an outline, so it's par moving forward. So that's all we really have, Steph. We haven't discussed anything. We're gonna discuss it today, and you certainly, I feel that you can get a copy of this, couldn't you?
I have extra copies.
No problem, huh?
I did print off some extra copies.
You're entitled to have one.
Yeah, because if you're gonna discuss later, I was just gonna say a lot of us have work, I can't,
I don't
work
want you.
after lunch
Yep.
and for discussion, so,
We'll give you copies exactly what we're working with.
okay?
And it isn't gonna happen overnight. It's an outline that's gonna take probably going into July of
Yeah,
twenty
no,
twenty-six.
we're glad that
After
you're-
public
We're
hearings.
gonna visit about some other stuff with our book too, I think,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's basically what we're gonna do.
Suya, you got a copy of it?
Yep,
There,
thank you,
yep.
thank you,
You
appreciate
bet.
it.
There you go.
And that's what we're gonna be going over on, exactly what we're giving you here.
You're saying July, Dan, till you get done with this?
Well, the way it's outlined, now you have to have public hearings and all.
Right, but talking to other townships and counties that are doing it, they're, 2-3 months, they're talking to set one up. I'm no expert, I'm just telling you what other people are saying, cause this has to do with these future projects that are coming to our county. You almost gotta have this for some of this, I believe some of the century codes, Joe would know more than me, but for some of these, whether you wanna reject future projects or accept them, everybody else says the zoning board is so important. I mean, talking to Burley County people and stuff, so, just saying.
Yeah, I think you could maybe shave a month or two off, kinda depends on the board and how motivated they are, but yeah, if you look at the basic process, let's say that they were to pass a resolution to start this,
Today.
then they're probably gonna be looking at next month appointing those 9-member board, and then the board has 30 days to have its first meeting, so if they do it, the next week versus, 3-4 weeks down the line, that's gonna shave off maybe a month. And then after they have their first meeting and they get together, then they have to come up with this plan to present the county. Now, can they do that before the next month's meeting? Maybe, or maybe it takes a couple months, so.
Well, we don't want to.
There's definitely some room for, maybe shaving off a little time, but I tried to come up with
Right.
what I thought was maybe the most likely scenario. It could be a little quicker than that, for sure.
All you gotta do is.
It might be April instead of July.
It could be.
All you gotta do is pass the
Might
resolution.
be January.
Huh?
It could be January.
Could it be January?
We do wanna get this.
We wanna
enacted.
get this done in
Certainly.
place.
But I don't know if
Because
it's gonna
we
fall
pulled the
together
handbrake.
as far as finding members, as quickly as a guy thinks it will, but we do definitely know that this is of the greatest importance for our county, there's no doubt about it.
And we experienced that with this last issue.
We've been
on
going
this
round and
permitting.
round with stuff,
And I had no idea that we needed this, and now we know we need it. That's why this is here right now.
yeah, I think.
It's gotta
we're-
get done.
I think we're the only county out of 6 counties, out of our
does
6
not
county that
That
does not.
doesn't have
Yeah.
one.
Yes.
They made that pretty clear up
Pretty
at
clear.
Carrington that
Pretty clear.
we need.
We're the only one without a zoning, that is not true. McIntosh has no zoning, I think Kidder has next to no zoning, no.
Oh,
that's-
they made it sound like we all.
I was told
As
that,
sophistication levels go in 6 county, we are not at the bottom, we
They
are
don't
towards
have
the top,
zoning
I will
boards, they don't have
guarantee.
Well, I'm not putting us down as a.
Well, no, but I'm saying, I've been to those meetings, I've looked into it, I've had calls from people about the wind farm in McIntosh, they have 0 zoning. They rely on the state for everything, if it
Well,
passes
they
state guidelines, they don't even
They
issue
didn't
permits in
jump at saying
McIntosh.
that they didn't have it.
That's probably
so.
because they don't even know.
You know,
I'm gonna
maybe.
be blunt, but they
That could
don't
be,
know.
yeah. But I was told by one guy on the board, on the commission board.
Yeah.
I said, do you have one? He said, absolutely. I said, how many members you have? Well, we got 3 commissioners, how many members do you have on the zoning board?
Yeah.
Well, 3 of us.
No.
3. I said, so you got 3 county commissioners, that your zoning board?
Yeah.
I said, you don't have a zoning board.
Who's that?
It was with a county, just
Oh.
adjacent.
Logan, McIntosh, and
They don't have
Orchid,
it.
if they have a zoning board, I know
That's their
Logan and
loss.
McIntosh.
Huh?
That's their loss that they don't have one.
Well, they
Right,
feel
but I'm
they
just
have
saying,
it,
like, if
but
they
don't have it.
answered that they had a zoning board, they don't know, they do not have a zoning board, they do not.
And this was here, I talked to the guy you spoke to, and he said it happened, they brought in a plan on some project. And the board at that time, and I know the guys that run it, they're all gone deceased. They didn't like what was brought forth from the zoning committee, and they more or less throw it out, we'll take care of it ourselves. If there was merit to that, I don't know, but that was said from the guy that's still living.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you don't know. But it was here, but it was never,
There
Never
wasn't
followed
much
through
going
with
on
members.
back then. There wasn't much going on back then.
No.
either.
Well, and if they have a zoning board, it is nothing like this is.
this is a different ballgame right here.
We're talking about actively creating a zoning
Zoning
board
board,
pursuant
right
to
here.
the century code that's gonna match
Yep,
the other counties, they don't,
Yeah, I can even tell you some details on how that would, but I don't need to.
cause I know
so
Mac,
this is the
I know
way this is,
McIntosh.
you've got a copy of exactly what we've got, okay?
Well, I know McIntosh doesn't have one, because they had asked me how you pass a conditional use permit. and I'm
Don't
like,
shoot the messenger.
Well, no, but I'm just
just
telling you, because somebody did
nobody
call me,
said
and
we
they
don't
said,
have one
they
either.
said, why didn't the commissioners, grant the conditional use permit? I'm like, well, do you have one? Well, they said, well, no, we don't. I said, well, then they don't need to apply for one. Like, if you don't
Yeah.
have any ordinances
Yeah.
saying you need to conditionally apply for a permit.
Well,
then
I know
you
for
don't.
sure Wells,
Yeah.
they're the
Well, I
one
think Wells
that
is
sat
sponsor,
right
and they have
beside
some
us
bigger
and
towns,
said, you
they
have to have it,
yeah.
you have to have it.
I would believe those counties
Yeah.
do, because
But
they have
nobody
bigger
else around
cities.
there said, we don't have one either. So that's,
But here we
maybe I
go.
assumed that.
Well, that's what I figured.
I know we're not the
My
only ones. I know,
apologies.
well,
Did you all have a chance to go through and read this?
No, I didn't even know we got
And if
this
you got
last
any
thing, I don't.
questions, we'll address it to Joe. If you
Yeah,
got-
wanna
I
check
can kinda
my email.
Go ahead, Joe, you wanna go through it, go ahead.
Okay, so, basically what I did was I created a resolution, and I'll explain that later, but, I went through and tried to outline the process that it's gonna take to create they call it a planning commission in the century code, but it's a zoning board essentially. The first step is to adopt a resolution to create that commission, or that zoning board. So that's what the resolution is for, and it basically just says that this is your guys' intention to do that. And doing that is gonna require, you know, probably each one of you to go out to your district and find someone who wants to be on that board, cause there's 5 at-large members, 1 from each district.
That would work.
We'll reconvene, you know, probably next month and appoint these individuals. 2 of you, most likely serve on it as well as, members of the, county commission. You don't have to have 2, but you can't have more than 2, but, and then, also, at least 2 have to be from the city of Linton's, county, or city council, because that is the county seat, so we'll have to appoint 2 members from the city of Linton. So someone will have to, or maybe multiple people will have to talk to that board. I know obviously James is on that board, and see who would be interested in that. And then you guys will have to figure out either at this meeting or at the next one, which of you 2 would like to be on the board as well. And then once we have those 9 individuals, either we vote them in all together, or vote them in separately, however you wanna handle that at the next meeting, they'll be appointed. And from that point, they'll have to have a meeting within 30 days, and you guys will have a little bit less, to do from that point until they come back and actually provide to you their initial plan. So
Yeah.
that'll be something that I'll probably work with them, I would assume, in developing as well. And there'll be a timeline for that. There's gonna be public hearing process, after that plan is presented to you as well. And, once that's done and it's adopted, there's also I guess there's an appeals process, but I don't anticipate a whole lot of, after that, I guess a whole lot of work for the county commission to do after that point. So really, you have to decide whether or not you want to have a planning commission, a zoning board that represents the county, and if you do, the only thing you really have to do is go ahead and approve the resolution. So if you wanna take some time to read that, or maybe we take a break like we discussed, and read through the resolution essentially is just that, you're just appointing, or creating this zoning board. So it's the first step in that process, and there'll be a lot of discussion of who those members will be, I suppose, at the next meeting, so.
I have a
So do
question.
we need anything signed from these people that we approach? On a commitment or no?
No, I don't think so. I mean, obviously, if you appoint someone and they don't wanna be on the board, then they'll have to be reappointed.
We would stagger these two, right, Joe? So
Yeah.
that you have some people that would serve 2 and some that would serve 4, so you kinda always have some new,
Yeah.
some old blood and some new blood.
Yeah.
Right.
And what about paying? I know we all discussed, some payment for this group of people.
Yeah,
I mean, I think you get good quality people if you give them a little bit of a breadcrumb.
Well, do you need that to really pass the resolution though and good for, I mean,
not necessarily.
Okay, okay.
Those logistics we would work out a little bit later.
Okay.
I guess just for the sake of time, the main thing about it, right, is you just basically decide if you wanna adopt this resolution.
Right, to be a motion to
This is
adopt.
step A in a process that
It
is
is.
to continue, right?
And if you guys would prefer, we can bring it up next month instead,
No.
too.
No, we'll read this, Joe, and go across it, and get a motion to accept the resolution like you and I discussed.
Yeah,
Get a second, get a roll call vote, and go from there.
yeah.
Go ahead, you guys, take time and read it if you need, you know. We got questions, we could ask Joe now, we could get a better time.
Oh, there's the staggered thing. Good job, Joe. All you have to do is read it.
Yep.
Yes, not that.
There's a lot of county auditors.
I told Joe to make it simple for me, so he really made it simple, yes.
Yeah, no, it is. Very simple and.
I think this looks really good.
Yeah,
Look, it's a good outline.
Yeah?
I'll make a motion to approve this resolution.
There's a motion by Mr. Miller to approve the resolution as shown here, 25-10-01. The resolution establishing Emmons County Planning and Zoning Commission. Is there a second to the resolution?
I'll second it.
Second by Jim Vanworth.
I,
Go ahead, Eric.
the only question, concern, whatever would be, are we okay with having the Emmons County Auditor be the secretary of it? Mostly just with your multiple duties and everything else. Anyway, if this board decides to meet pretty regular, at least in the beginning stages, to do some stuff, is that gonna be it? Because the reason I say that is because even like serving on the water board, we had our Dice, the weed board, and Caleb Holcalter, people that maybe didn't quite have as many duties that could probably serve in a greater capacity as the secretary for a board that could be very busy, at least in the beginning.
Well,
It's just a question, I'm not,
is this under century code though that she has to, because it says she shall serve, or the county auditor shall serve as the secretary.
right, so that has to be that
I
way?
think, is that in Century Code?
Well, I'm trying to read that again, but.
Or would
I
the
can't
question
cross
be,
it.
you can have the auditor as a secretary, but still have like an administrator or something? I guess my concern is just if that's on top of the numerous other duties you already have.
I don't disagree with that,
I just-
honestly.
it's just,
I don't disagree with Aaron's concern.
it's just a cause for concern more than anything, cause she's already on the social service board with me, on that regional board, and, you know, she attends the 6 county meetings, and just,
She only needs to sleep a few hours a day.
Could I ask somebody that's sitting out in the audience here, would you consider?
And so, it's actually in the Century Code 113305, the county auditor shall serve as secretary to the commission and shall keep all the records and accounts of the commission.
it's not a may, it's a shall, so, okay.
Okay,
Never mind.
try it.
I mean, the only question would be down the road or something too, which it doesn't have to happen today, is if you would wanna delegate to like an administrator or something, cause I find it hard to believe in the other counties that the county auditor does all the secretarial work, that just, especially like your oil counties and stuff, that seems like a lot of work. I'd be surprised that the auditor on top of all the other, this seems to me like at least in the beginning stages, is gonna be maybe not a full-time job, but a pretty heavy part-time job.
I'm gonna find out if I get overwhelmed.
Well, it's just my
We
own.
don't, yeah, you just speak up, yeah, we don't want
I
you
just
to-
wanted it to be a part of the concern, I'm not against it, but if you're gonna have a board, the zoning board, that's gonna do the work we're expecting or hoping that it's gonna do, you wanna have someone that can handle that secretarial role too, cause that's gonna be a busy role.
Well, I for one am glad you brought that up, cause I didn't want you to think that I was just signing you up just for no reason.
I felt, that was the only thing I seen that I'm just like.
I know I read that, I didn't
She was scribbling your name on the back of the deal just about to.
And I mean, I did see it in the century code, so I bring it up, so I'm like, shall is like when Commissioner Miller brought it up, my question was it a may or a shall? Because if it's may, I would seriously consider like.
Yeah.
I know where you live, Joe.
Well, so, I mean, it just, I think it's
If
gonna
not,
be,
Scott will find it a map.
it's gonna be a busy board, there's no doubt about it, so.
So due to the discussion, do you wanna change the motion that was just made, brought forth?
I don't think you
But
can.
you don't need to.
I don't think you can.
Yeah.
Okay, is there a second to the motion that was brought forth
Yeah, no, it was
on this
second.
resolution?
Yep.
And it was seconded by who, Vandermeer? Okay, do you wanna do a roll call? We need a roll call, or just vote apart?
You can.
Do a roll call.
Okay.
Gardner,
Aye.
Miller,
Aye.
Vandermeer,
Aye.
Mager,
Aye.
Materi, aye. Motion carried. Anyone opposed? I guess it should, anyone opposed? Zero.
I'm gonna say, you
Motion
paused
carried.
there, you wanted to call me Jeff, didn't
Yeah,
you?
yeah,
Everybody
you call you.
So Joe, does this board get paid?
We all got a nickname in this.
Or
Does
Scott.
this board or?
Right,
I
Scott?
don't know, nothing's discussed, we'll discuss it afterwards.
Wait,
We said we'll discuss it after
Okay, I was
the
asking.
next meeting or something, right? We'll discuss
Because if
wages.
you ask people to serve on this board, they're probably gonna ask you, well, what's.
No, I think we should hammer this out.
Should we hammer it out
We
today?
can
Let's
either
get it
go,
done.
we can either go do lunch unless they wanna continue to be here, then let's just hammer that, I mean, let's hammer out what we can till we can't.
I wanna ask you, from sitting from the outside looking in here, do you feel that these people should be given a wage to come to the meeting and be part of the planning committee? What do the other counties do?
Yeah, I think.
I don't know.
well, the
Yeah,
only thing I would say is a part of Joe's step 3 here with the organizational meeting. The new planning and zoning commission must meet within 30 days after appointment to elect a chairperson and other officers, and it may adopt bylaws governing the procedure. I would think pay would maybe be a part of the bylaws discussion. Or, I mean, not saying we can't dictate it, but I mean, here's what I'll tell you, I've served on many boards. Every one of them you were paid.
You were paid.
You gotta pay something. I'm not saying it's gotta be some huge stipend, but when I was on the water board, it was $50 a meeting, we met, a quarter. You know, when I'm on the public health board, it's $50.
Okay.
On the regional social board, whatever you wanna call it, the human service board that we meet, which is every other month, I think it's $150, cause there is mileage included, but we usually don't get mileage, so. I'll tell you what, if you wanna get paid $150 to take a day off of work, you go ahead. That's what I'm
Community
saying.
action pays just mileage.
Huh?
Right,
My
but
board, community action just pays mileage, they're not. I
I'll
mean, they're
only
not.
advocate for this as someone that's served on these boards, who runs a business, has a lot of things going on, just like everybody else on these boards.
No,
What does the housing authority do, David?
fair.
Housing board, well, we haven't had a check, we've only had like one, but I originally told them, I didn't wanna get paid, I just was gonna volunteer that. And then the other people, he paid them, but now he hasn't paid us, but I guess you gotta pay something, but I don't think we should be paying the regular wage.
No.
Nothing like that.
No, we're talking
This
like
is a
50 bucks a
community effort
meeting
for the
or
county.
Yeah,
$100.
that's why I rejected on the housing board, cause I just wanna donate for the good of the county.
Yeah.
That's me though,
Yeah.
other people might want mileage and $50 or whatever.
If they wanna give it back, they can give it back.
Yeah.
Well, I can just tell you that the more the board pays, the more apt you're gonna get applicants, I will say that. I mean, obviously, there's a limit, I'm not suggesting hundreds of dollars per meeting,
Yeah,
but
he's right.
the standard that I've seen with almost everything is usually around $100 to $150, cause it's roughly a livable wage for the day if you're making X amount, cause you're gonna lose a day most of the time.
Yep.
even if it's only a 3-hour meeting, the day is shot, like you're, I would suggest at least, if you do it for $50, nobody under retirement age is gonna wanna lose a day of work or vacation or take sick time.
Run a grain cart, whatever, you know.
I'm picking on you, no, but I mean, you gotta.
They don't wanna do it.
I'm just kidding. Was part of the earlier conversation. My point is that you gotta pay something fair, and I don't know what fair is, I'm not suggesting fair, other than that. Every board that I've been on where it paid under $100, it really feels like you are donating, and there's nothing wrong with donating, but not everybody's just willing to. And this board is gonna be busy at the beginning. It's gonna take, they're not gonna have 45-minute meetings.
No.
They're gonna meet once a week, maybe bi-weekly, and it's gonna probably be half a day or a day to hammer out some of this stuff. You gotta have people that are willing to, they're gonna take a significant time away from whatever it is they're doing to be on this board, so.
Thank you guys for everything. I gotta go home and mow road ditches.
Can't get it done, it's short.
You're late.
Well, I would've said that
You're
on
6
camera.
days late.
No, we're on our 4th or 5th pass.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
We're okay.
But I would just, I would, and I can tell you one other thing was, I remember being on the water board, and I was by far the youngest guy on there, everybody else on there had been on there for many years. Glenn McCrory was the chairman for many years, he did a wonderful job, Glenn was great to be on a board with. He didn't raise the wages until he was done, and then the last meeting, he said, you need to raise the wages, this is too cheap.
He didn't
And-
want to do it.
Well, I mean,
Well, he
and that
didn't
was,
wanna get
right,
fired.
Glenn was the good guy, he didn't feel like he should advocate for his own pay wage, but literally in his last meeting, he looked at all of us and he said, you should raise it, it's too cheap, and that was at $50 a meeting, I think they went to 75, like, it wasn't like they went to 300 a meeting, they went to like 75, maybe $100, so
What's fair?
I can tell you what, the boards that I served quarterly, 50 to $100 was fair, cause a lot of them like public health, we meet in the evenings, it's like a 2-hour meeting, $50 is fine, it's quarterly, I don't bank on that as income.
Chairman Materi.
Hey Dan, just one thing we can have, I can call Marv, you know, up in Burley County, and he can talk to Flanagan, he's the head of the zoning board up there, just to get an idea what they pay.
Okay,
Doesn't mean we have to
get
talk
talking,
to them.
Right.
Mark.
Get an idea.
Okay.
And I think that would, actually, a big part of it would be the difference between, this charter committee is gonna have a lot more work than a committee 3 years from now.
Right,
And 3 years from now, they might get to meet quarterly in the evenings.
right.
But, you know, or maybe monthly in the evenings for an hour, hour and a half, where this charter board is gonna have some serious work.
There's some work to get done.
Right, so I would just take that into consideration as somebody that takes a lot of time away from their business to serve on these other boards, which are necessary, important, they need to be done. It can't all just be donated.
So it's, are you gonna have to sit in on other meetings?
So Joe, are you gonna be sitting on these boards too, then nothing?
Well, I don't have to, but I'm sure at least initially I can.
I was gonna say,
It
because
might
they're
be
gonna need
helpful.
some legal.
I think that-
And just to be clear, the Century Code does say that the county commission, as the appointing authority, shall establish the rate of compensation, so it is up to you guys.
Okay.
Oh, there we
And
go.
maybe to you guys' point, I don't know who said it, but, I mean, it was Marlis, but if, in the recruiting process or talking to these people, if you could tell them, hey, it's $100 a meeting, at least, you know, it's not nothing, or whatever you come up with, maybe that is helpful.
It helps.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't
Oh, it
consider
absolutely
that when
does.
I was trying to figure out how to put it together, but yeah, that might be helpful. So you have 9 guys on the board, if you paid them $100 a month, you're looking at almost 10,000 a year, I don't know what that does for the budget, I mean, it's
So you
hard
take
to-
it out of the permit.
What's that?
Take it out of the permit
Well, that makes sense
account,
too.
because that's what they're gonna be.
Well, and once you
Contributing
start a
to-
zoning board, they'll have their own budget, just like the other ones, so.
I only budgeted 5 for planning commission this year, I didn't.
Well, we
500 or
could
5,000?
take out of the,
Pardon me?
500 or 5,000?
5,000 I budgeted
So you're happy.
I mean, I do like $100 a meeting just to start off with, to keep
Yeah, I
people
think so
coming
too,
in.
that's a good, plus mileage or just $100?
Just
for. If you wanna recruit some real go-getters on this board, some people that wanna do it, like, donating time is fine, you get a Dave Mock that wants to donate and come and do it, that's great, but not everybody's gonna wanna do
Yeah,
it, that's
yeah.
something, and
It does get, I'm
It
like
is.
you are, Aaron, the money lost when you're a business owner to go to these meetings, and I don't have a problem doing it, I go to my board meetings, but
I mean,
But you
Jim
give
just
up
said he's got a
big
combine sitting, he's got just as good a chance as anybody to be on that board, like.
Yep.
It's $100 isn't gonna solve his combine issue, but oh darn, at least it covered his gas to come to town, so,
Right.
you know, or.
and a meal,
Whether you
lunch,
pay
or
mileage
Think of
or
our
whatever.
honesty right now.
Yeah,
Well, I guess,
These meetings are open record, right? I mean, they're open
Oh,
to the,
absolutely.
they're open meetings, I mean.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Probably
mean-
just happen here and there or whatever.
let me know, Dave, when you speak to
I
them,
mean, the only other suggestion would be as a part of their bylaws, could they offer a suggestion for pay and we approve it?
I suppose they
I mean-
could, I mean, it's up to you guys.
I don't know, I'm not
to
saying
set,
it's,
so, yeah.
or whatever, I guess, if nobody can come to a consensus here or something, maybe that would be.
It just would be nice to come to something, like you could roughly, you know, if you're recruiting somebody, say, we're looking at, you know, around $100
Yeah, I would
meeting
think
to
we could
start,
do
or.
that.
Well, I guess if we just wanna kick something off, I would make the motion
Go ahead.
for the members of the board to be paid $100 per meeting.
I think.
No mileage, no nothing.
That's just a flat fee.
Yeah.
And I mean,
That's all.
with the intent of that being that, if that's not enough, this board is gonna be a part of some big decisions. If they come together and they're like, we would want a little more, we can work with them. But I think
Right.
a jump off
That's
point, let's
just
start with $100 per member per meeting.
Okay, is there a second of that?
Second.
Second by Miller? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, what else we gotta go over, guys? We should be.
Because this second document essentially is just the guideline you gave us.
Is there anybody on this commission that wants on real bad?
I think it's just directing who's gonna talk to whom. I guess I would assume that each of you can find somebody in your own district.
Yeah, I'll look for somebody.
Just look for somebody that's concerned about the county.
And then the question would be, how you gonna determine which of you are gonna be on it, and then who's gonna go talk to the city?
Yeah.
And other than that, I don't know that we have a whole lot unless you guys have questions.
Scott, you wanna talk to city?
Sure.
Let's go down.
That's a good one.
I can talk.
Anything else?
Anybody on this commission though that wants to get on, that wants to raise their hand now, prior to, or prior to the combine movie?
The guy that's already halfway out the door on his way to the combine, sure, he looks like he'd like to be on that board.
I put my hand up right away, yeah, no. No.
Mangum and Miller, I think you'd be good both of you.
Well, he's going off.
Gardner's gonna be on the city.
Aaron I'm gonna be on the city, I'm off the city in 26. Aaron was just talking about lost wages. He's a good guy.
Yeah. And he's got a smile on the right side of his
Yeah.
face, so I think it'll be all good.
It's just so
I
dumb,
think-
that's why I smile all the time, cause I'm so dumb.
No, I'll take a turn.
Well, experience is worth a lot.
Yeah,
Bar none.
I agree there, Hunter.
Greg says he'll take a turn.
Would you?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we got.
Mangum and Miller?
No.
Materi.
Materia and Miller, that's, yeah, they go together like,
Like M&M.
yeah, like M&Ms.
No,
Peanut M&Ms.
You're gonna be on the city deal?
Well, no, so you could appoint James, cause the city can have more than two, so if you wanted to appoint James, you could, he'd be one of the two on the county. The city could have more than two, or
Oh,
you could just have,
he could do both.
Wouldn't that create a quorum issue, though, or you
yes,
guys,
that's the thing,
cause
is
it,
the quorum
or
issue.
what's the size of Lytton City Board?
5. 6, sorry.
So would 3 make a quorum?
Oh, what are we, 1, 2, 3, yeah, we're 6.
Cause if he was a county official and you had 2 city board members, you'd have 3 from
I got
Lytton.
2
No,
arms
you
though,
need a
yes and
majority.
yes. No, no.
Well, that'd be the only question mark on that, since, I mean, it's
Yeah,
not a
sure.
common scenario where you have a city and county board members.
Well, I don't, I honestly, at this point, I don't think I would go for the city, cause like I said, I'm off in 26, I'm not rerunning, and I'm not accepting any write-ins. Check, we can check. So, I mean, if Aaron doesn't want it, I would be willing to
do it?
get,
I want you
I
on
would be
board.
willing to get on. I mean,
Okay.
if you're
very bold
if
when I
you're
want
too
you on.
busy as a retired guy, I guess,
Yeah.
this self-employed guy can miss another day of work.
Yep.
And.
No, you're good at it.
Greg
You're
already
Usually
said he
$200
would,
a
huh?
meeting, so.
Greg and James.
Yeah.
Well, I think those 2 being on there would be good just because of the way their cycle is too, right now. I mean,
Yeah.
cause Dan and I are up.
We're up here next year, right? Yep.
You guys are both running, right?
For the record, I am not seeking reelection. You
But
can
we're
print that
writing,
in the
but we're
paper.
writing you in.
Aren't you?
I am not seeking reelection. You can put that on Facebook, paper,
Front page.
yeah,
Leandro will put that on the front page of the.
it's fine. Magrum is not seeking reelection.
We'll see.
Too many honeymoons.
No, it's just.
Yeah,
I
right,
set up
yeah,
last
cause I'm
year.
running for the governor's spot, that's why I can't run for county, don't start that with me.
Not because believe me, I'm plenty hungry, but, and with this zoning ordinance update resolution,
It's a lot, when I read the packet.
you gave us homework, I did not do it. We talked about,
I don't know, we'll see.
our book and Starks, Dunn's, do we wanna talk about that at all?
What's
The book, the ordinances, the updates, we had a little homework.
Well,
Yeah,
that would
I
be up to the
read
zoning
them,
committee
I've read through them a couple times.
to get through that, cause we're not gonna.
Well, but
as a
we
commission-
can start to do that now though, prior to the, I still think at this point, you guys, we have to go down to either industrial,
Absolutely.
permits and get rid of the agricultural part of it, so that we are not running into this problem that we're running into. And I think we need to move that direction sooner than later, so that we don't, cause we're gonna have a group that wants another public hearing. And now we get to tell them it's not what it's zoned, it's what it's being used for, and you're wrong, and this is what we need, and,
Can you help us with that, Joe? On that zoning deal, because, you know, we heard it with next year when the young man said, he said, well, it'll come back into agriculture when we're done. Well, it's never coming back into agriculture, that's
and
staying.
Aaron basically said, just get rid of the agriculture part. Here's what you're using it for, this is what it is, it's an industrial condition use permit, and that's,
Well, I don't think that technically works that way though, cause the reason you're conditionally adopting a permit is because it is ag land and you're allowing for a use other than ag land, so it's still technically ag land.
okay, but then
It's
we
just
need
a
to
conditional-
get these two different,
We need to eliminate one and just have a conditional use.
that's what I mean.
The industrial is what needs to go away.
Okay,
We need to have a conditional use permit, those uses have to be defined under the conditional use permit.
By who? The board?
Well, us currently until the zoning board reaches that point.
and I think we need to move on that, because
Yeah.
if this board, if it takes us 2 or 3 or 4 or till July, like you said, we're gonna get caught again here, like I
Oh,
said, it's
yeah.
coming, I don't know if you got a phone
Yeah,
call
right.
from
On that same person,
And I
'cause I got a
apologize,
letter.
because they called me too, and I said, there was talk of November for a hearing, I don't know if
She
there
emailed me
was.
and I'm like,
And
I'm scared to respond because
well, they're,
are they
yeah,
gonna?
they're
You
free.
just need to say, I said, don't
slash
say
me
much, you just say,
lawsuit or-
no, no.
I don't wanna respond, I just,
Well, they're gonna want their public hearing, and I mean, I guess they deserve it at some point, we don't have to cave to them, I sent the gentleman from Bismarck, who was willing to come down and answer any questions, I just said there was talk about November, but I don't know if we ever picked a date, you could call the county auditor and ask her if we
she
picked a
emailed me
date.
and wanted me to confirm that it was November, and I just haven't responded to that email because
I got one too, same.
once you email and it's on there.
I mean, we
then
do
it has-
kinda have to think about that too, but we're gonna run into this problem, and that was what we wanted to try to fix before we had to go to the public hearing, and now.
Go ahead, Dave.
I can't help, I talked to Christina, and her opinion was, the minute you build industrial on ag land, it becomes industrial.
It's industrial.
Yeah.
That's what she told me, but, you know, that's up to you guys, but that's what she
Can't we
told
just
me.
adopt a resolution stating that, Joe?
So, I mean, I think we could maybe adopt a resolution that just creates the conditional use permit that Commissioner Magram's detailing. I think that makes sense. What Christine's talking about, I'm assuming, is the way that it's taxed, and that's completely different than the way it's zoned.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
yeah.
Can you do
tax
that,
property.
can you do that
for its
between
use,
now
you
and
zone it.
6:30 tonight, that resolution?
And if
Well,
we,
cause I mean, kinda what we had spoke about before about this is if you change the zoning of something that you permitted, you're basically spot zoning.
Right.
You can't, that's the conditional use permit is you're granting a use inside of something that's not zoned for that use. That's why you have to do a conditional use permit
That's why I said-
to allow like an electrical transmission project in ag land, because that is not a conforming use, that's a permitted use, and
I
it has
just-
to get permitted by the board.
And I just think we need to make
Okay.
this happen, however we make it happen sooner than later, so that we don't continue to run into this,
Yes.
we feel like
Like we're gonna get sued.
Well,
yeah, like we're
We're out
under,
of compliance.
yeah.
Cause even like some of the processes that happen in agriculture, they don't have to come get a conditional use permit, cause that's a permitted use in your
Right.
book that says you can do that on ag land. You still have to do maybe a building permit, but you don't need a conditional use for the
Okay.
hearing and the whole deal.
Okay.
Once you exceed those boundaries, which is in your book, like X amount of head facility, acreage sizes, any of those changes, if they do not conform to your actual built-in uses, you need a permitted use. And some of that stuff can even, you don't even have to have it as a permitted use, you can just say, we don't allow that, but
So how
under,
fast-
in our book, some of these things like electrical transmission is a permitted use in
If I
ag
run out and
land,
get you
that's why
lunch,
they
can we
get
get
conditional
started?
use permits. To do it inside of ag land.
Yep,
So otherwise, you would have to do it on industrially zoned land if you didn't have a conditional use permit. And we don't have any industrial area out in the country, so you'd never be able to build any of that stuff, that's why it's.
I just
being
think we
built.
really gotta get on this, I mean, and I'm talking, we really gotta get on this,
Oh, yeah,
not
I
next
can't
month.
find that sheet that I.
there was so much uncertainty there last year.
Yeah, there we go.
Do we need a public hearing if we change something too, don't we?
Well, you need a public hearing for a zoning ordinance, I don't know that we would need them for the resolution, but.
Okay.
Well, what
This is kinda a little bit different because you're not changing any of the, you're not changing a zoning, you're changing a permit application. I think there's a little bit of gray area there.
Okay.
Some of this stuff you can change through resolution, some of it you can't. I mean, I'd have to probably read through that provision of the century code again before I can answer you for sure, but I think we'd be okay with the resolution. And then I think would be the idea that this planning and zoning commission sort of takes that resolution and incorporates it into their new zoning ordinance that they present to us.
Yes.
There you go.
Well, and it also creates an avenue so you can still approve permits while this board is being built, so you don't have this like year lull where there's, cause in the end, the one thing about it that I believe is in century code too is that the zoning board doesn't actually grant approval.
Good.
The zoning
They do
board
not.
brings recommendations to the board, we actually still grant approval. So the zoning board can approve a project, the county commissioners can still deny it.
Deny, right.
So that
Or you
same
can
thing
tell
goes
them.
with like the budgets, like if the weed board comes in with a budget, all they do is bring their proposed budget, we approve their budgets.
So it goes back to them then to revise what.
But
they
essentially,
want.
you would deny it, and right, it would have to go to some form of a revision or a reapplication,
Yeah,
and you know,
yeah,
different,
yeah.
I mean, so that's, so, just so we're clear too, that the zoning board isn't gonna be this appointed recluse board that has no accountability to the county commissioners. The elected officials still approve the projects, it's just they're more of a vetting process so that it gets its due diligence, so that we don't have a million other things going on while we're also supposed to be vetting these projects, which it just seems to be, it's getting to be too much. Years ago, it was probably not a big deal, now it's too much, so.
Right.
I mean, I have no idea on if some of these revisions are, you know, conflict with law, with having to have like a public hearing. It probably wouldn't be a bad idea to just have a public hearing, just to cover your bases, cause otherwise if you approve it and it doesn't go right, then you're opening yourself up to litigation possibly too, or.
Yeah, I just have a hard time believing that the permit application procedure would require a public hearing. I could be wrong, but I'll double check. I think that could be a resolution that I could get together pretty quickly. I'm assuming you guys wanna leave for the day at some point, so I don't know that I could do it this instant.
They have to come back to
We'll
that.
give you an hour, we'll take a lunch here, but we
Yeah, we gotta come back tonight.
Well, cause I mean, even going
Could
on,
you,
well,
go ahead.
going off what we had talked about.
Well, we do have to be back this
Right, what we had talked about originally is like, I had just made a suggestion on a application fee versus an actual permit fee. You know, that was one discussion, because, you know, you're applying for this fee, then you gotta lay down hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars, like at least if it's like, well, it's X amount of dollars, which is extremely tolerable, which helps the county defray costs while going through the process. Once it's granted, that's when our permit fee, like if we're still on the 3%, once you get your permit, it's 3%. And then if we were gonna adopt some kind of schedule with that, like we did with NextEra, where like this is the process, you know, and then, which I think is fair, because at least it alleviates burden of having to come up with an entire chunk without knowing for sure if they'll even get approval from other agencies. And then obviously, the other thing was just the defined stages, which was like a review period, where it goes, you know, I don't know if you need to, I mean, my opinion is that seems like pretty minuscule stuff that I doubt you'd need a public hearing for and everything, but that being said, I'm a fan of public hearings, it doesn't matter to me.
It doesn't matter to me, the nice thing about a public hearing would be that we'd have a little bit more time and some more input to discuss these. I mean, I just would hate to rush it and then we put together a resolution that gets approved that's not 100% what you guys were looking for.
Right, and I think also, with the fact that we just passed a resolution that we're forming a zoning board,
Yep.
we're in review of our books. To be honest with you, we can tell Intermountain that we're just maybe not gonna accept their permit, or we're just gonna deny it because we're going through this process this year, like we have leeway with that, cause I mean, I did consult Derek Broughton about that as far as like, what's our responsibilities, just because they applied for a permit, when we're in this massive review of our process, it's a legitimate point to just say,
No.
we're just not accepting it, or we're not permitting anything until we at least revise this process.
Yeah.
Or
It's like,
maybe until we just wanna have our zoning, but whatever, like, we do have leeway, as long as we
that's
just.
what that
So
said.
they don't have a loophole to jump through.
To my knowledge, I mean, loopholes are loopholes, but I just asking Derek briefly about it, just, hey, like,
Yeah. it's
since we're
good.
going through this process, what is our responsibilities? And he said, well, you would actually be wiser in a lot of cases to just tell them, like, at least until we iron out the permit process for sure.
Yeah.
We probably shouldn't be scheduling public meetings, hearings, or accepting permit applications.
And that's just the part I think we should iron out sooner than later, is just the process.
Yes.
And then the rest of it, yeah, I mean, I'm good with that too. I mean, I don't wanna rush into it either, but we might get something either even bigger down the pike, and they might be next month.
There's more
We'll see
coming.
it coming. Well, it might be, but at least this way, they know right off the bat where we're at, rather than this.
We've been working on this since last spring or so.
Yeah, right.
February,
Yeah.
so we can't say we just started this last week.
No.
Well, and to be honest, we've hit different stumbling blocks while working on it, on things that we probably were gonna do that probably weren't gonna work, and then now
Yeah.
we've come to the realization that we do need our official planning and zoning commission,
Yeah.
so.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, we made good progress.
Linda McClung, she keeps.
I don't think we've gone as fast as we could, and I don't think we need to necessarily run into everything, cause that's where you make mistakes and you get yourself into trouble too. It's just, I just would like that permit part of the book to be
I just know.
up to snuff, so that we don't have to have questions from other people that don't really
That happened there.
matter, but yeah, we have to explain ourselves, and then we put ourselves in a situation where we feel like we're gonna get sued or.
I don't know
Yeah.
either, I'm scared to.
Yeah, but, yeah, I think it's good to know where we're at.
What else do we have to do, guys?
Bills?
Joe's gonna draft a resolution.
Joe draw up a resolution?
Yes.
Okay.
And that would, that'll, be usable until
Thanks,
the planning committee comes up with something.
You guys aren't gonna take a lunch break?
Huh?
You're gonna take a lunch break? No? Do the bills and.
I don't think anybody wants to take a lunch break and then come back.
That's what
just
you
to
want
do
to
bills.
sign this
Maybe
board.
Maybe Jan does.
Jim does.
Jim wants to get.
No, I kinda wanna know.
Jim's got a combine fire
For a
without the
few
fire,
hours.
he's got a combine running without it.
He's gonna light it.
For a few hours.
You got enough help? You got enough help?
Well, if I'm there, we do.
He's gonna try to salvage paying for this day in a few hours.
Gotta sign all
That's
those.
on that resolution?
Yeah, there's all kinds of
See
stuff.
you, Dave.
See you, Dave, thanks for coming here. Let me know with that phone call.
I will,
Okay.
I'll call him this
Okay.
afternoon.
I gotta think.
I got it.
Good on
I got one? Yeah, I pulled one out
Who's that?
when I handed it
Oh,
to him.
we'll
Like a
think,
ninja.
think of somebody that'll be good in our area.
Think of somebody good, that's for the county.
Yeah. I think,
You know,
He's stepped up today,
who's that county manager?
Yeah, right.
and now we're not gonna. do
yeah,
it.
But it's maybe some younger,
Now
I
we're
don't know.
gonna do douchebag.
What do you think? Who are you thinking? I got somebody in my eye.
I gotta think a little more, yeah, I know.
The reason I think in my area.
I know, but that maybe would makes it, yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Generated, cause it's true.
Well, I was thinking.
So can we call Scott now?
Sure.
I'm gonna actually call you Scotty, if that's okay.
Well, that sounds even better.
There's.
I got nicknamed all yes, sir.
They're all
I
different.
can't say it on camera.
I don't know if that's the right word, but we do.
Some that dislike us.
Yeah, that's a better way to put it.
Yeah. Is there anything else we need? If not, I'm gonna adjourn the meeting.
We gotta do this.
Huh? Well, I guess we gotta go through that.
You know what I mean?
The bill,
Let's see, where's this at?
You wanna wait to do the bills and then adjourn? Is that what you're doing?
Don't you have to?
Just set it down. Do you have to give, the media have to give them order in order to sign bills?
Well, to go through them, they should.
You wanna go through them, I'll go right here.
Well, we're working on that
no,
right now.
usually go
I
through
go
them all.
through the, yeah. I looked through the list. I tried to look.
So guys, Craig Miller, sorry.
It's all right, it's
Craig
worse as you get older.
Craig Kitson jumped me the other day when I was in the courthouse, telling me that this place needs some windows
Yeah.
pretty badly.
Yep.
There's 94, 6 of them. And I told him to go talk to Marlis, because no place will even give us a bid until we go through the historical society part and actually get it approved that we can replace the windows. But just a heads up, they
We're
are,
on the.
in this building, 94 or 6 windows in this building. But we have to get approval from the State Historical Society to be able to change them, so he started that process.
Oh,
Before we can even get a bid from a company. Craig Kitson stopped me and talking about the windows are pretty much shot in the courthouse, there's like 94, 96 of them. So he's gonna start the process, or Marlis is, or whoever, you have to go through the State Historical Society, cause it's on the register, and get that approved first. And then he'll get some bids, he's
so
figuring
what,
probably.
he'll get windows that fit inside these, I suppose.
Inserts.
No, they're metal, so they gotta be pulled out and.
Pulled out on your
Yeah,
side.
yeah.
Well,
But
this
they'll retrofit, fit the size.
fit right in the hole.
Yeah,
Where do
yep,
those
yep,
signs?
yep.
Stay sitting here, stay.
Just an FYI, I just wanted to bring that to your guys' attention.
Yeah.
Oh, just sign right here. So how much did you figure, James?
He told me like probably $1 million. That's, jeez.
These 96 windows.
96 of them, $1 million, yeah. It was.
You're-
96.
And we'll get a grant for
They're
this?
metal, no, nobody said anything about grant, we have to go through the State Historical Society because we're on the
Where
register,
you
just to
do
even
it.
be able to get approval to get a bid. They have to approve it first before any company will even come out and look, is what he told me, yeah. Cause he got a hold of Fargo Glass, and they said, when you get approval from the Historical Society, we'll come out and take a look.
I didn't,
Well, then you're gonna get money allocated to you from the Historical Society.
No.
Well, that's a pretty big, yeah.
I had a guy could call me late last night, Myron Schneider, he's got a niece that is an engineer and did grants wherever she was at. And she's looking for work to do virtual. But for the county, we could use it like to write grants and stuff. Could we use it? Somebody like that with an engineering degree? Just something that was brought forth to the.
I don't know, Marlis writes grants, she's
Well,
got a
you know,
pretty
I
good
got
track
that.
record.
Yeah, I guess there could be something out there. for
you know,
grants.
I told Craig I could check with the with,
You got a what?
I could check with North Dakota Department of Commerce again if there's more energy grant monies out there,
So this, I think this was,
you know.
Oh, yeah, yep.
The problem that you have with, okay, when I wrote this one for the Strasburg and Linton shop, I needed an energy analysis done. Cause you
That
have
was
to
the
make
kicker, right, to
sure
get
that you can, that you're saving on electricity and fuel.
That's how it's applied.
So I found this guy at Basin Electric that did our energy analysis for us, and we got approved, so. To get a grant for an energy grant, you're gonna have to have an energy analysis done for this courthouse. $1 million, you're gonna have to show where you're gonna save $1 million on energy over a period of, that's a lot. That's huge.
What do you file this at, and how do you sign it later?
Which one is this?
So different.
Okay, this is at, tax fee, so, right there by the chairperson. I mean, but we gotta try, we gotta see what we can do.
yeah, right. Well, Dan, if you wanted to adjourn the meeting.
I'll make a motion.
Sure, go ahead, is there a motion?
I'll be, second.
Second by Jim, did you hear it?
Yeah.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carried.